In today's video, I'm going to talk about what no one's telling you about your sitting desk job and what it's doing to your neck. It actually makes you sicker. It can actually cause mood issues leading to depression, brain issues, chronic stress, fibromyalgia, TMJ, headaches, carpal tunnel syndrome, asthma, and heart disease. That's just a few to get your attention. What am I talking about? It's an epidemic in America, and it's called forward head posture. And it can lead you to disability or reaching for opioids, and it doesn't have to be that way. In this video, I'm going to explain what this condition is, who it affects, and what you can do to stop it, especially if you work sitting at a desk or in front of a computer. You're not going to want to miss this video. Hi, I'm Dr. Matt Hammett of Northwest Indiana Community Impact, and this is a Monday morning moment. Today's topic, forward head posture and the chiropractic approach. Thanks in no small part to a reliance on and addiction to technology, a sedentary lifestyle has become the norm. And as a result, good posture has never been more important. But unfortunately, our obsession with our smartphones and cell phones has made many of us develop a forward head posture. Why is this bad? Well, every time we lean forward just 60 degrees, the stress on our neck, it's increased by approximately 60 pounds. In fact, every time you move your head forward just an inch, an extra 10 pounds of weight is added to your neck. As a result, forward head posture leads to chronic pain, numbness in the arms and hands, improper breathing, and even pinched nerves. And that's not all. It turns out forward head posture doesn't just affect us physically, it affects our mood as well. Thanks in no small part to our smartphone addiction, most of us are constantly putting undue strain on our necks and spinal cords, which has adverse effects on our emotions. Amy Cuddy, a professor at Harvard Business School and the author of the forthcoming book, Presence, Bringing Your Boldest Self to Your Biggest Challenges, and her colleague, Harvard's Martin Bose, have dubbed this phenomena eye posture or eye hunch. The truth is, forward head posture affects mood and brain function. And that's right, not only does asthma and heart disease begin in your neck, but so does your brain health. For example, posture has an impact on feelings of stress, mood, memory, and even behavior. In a 2010 study conducted in Brazil, it examined posture and body image in people with major depressive disorders. In over 10 weeks, 34 participants with depression and 37 healthy volunteers had their posture assessed. And researchers found that patients' posture changed, including instances of the forward head positioning, right? And this happened during episodes of depression. And there was a mild dissatisfaction with body image, the results that they found. So, the Department of Clinical Psychology at a university in, I believe it was Germany, they gathered 30 depressed inpatients to investigate the effects of sitting posture on the tendency of depressed individuals to recall a higher proportion of negative self-referent material. And the findings showed that posture can affect memory. And after being randomly assigned to sit in a slouched or an upright position, the people who sat upright showed no bias in word recall, while those who slumped recalled mostly negative words. Well, what does this mean? Well, poor posture has been shown to affect the stress response. And in 2015, in Health Psychology, the official journal of the Division of Health Psychology and American Psychological Association, right? They published the results of a randomized trial on how posture affects stress responses. And so 74 participants, they were randomly assigned to either upright or slumped or seated posture. And for the experiment, the participants, their backs were strapped to hold the assigned posture, right? And the upright participants, they reported a higher self-esteem, more arousal, better mood, and lower fear compared to the slumped participants, right? So in addition, those sitting in a slump position, well, they use more negative emotional words, right? They had first person singular pronouns, they said, or affective process words, sadness words, and fewer positive emotional words and total words during the speech. So researchers concluded that good posture in the face of stress maintains self-esteem. It improves mood. It improves rate of speech and reduces self-focus. Meanwhile, the poor posture actually resulted in more stress, potentially leading to chronic stress. Again, if you're enjoying this training, click that like button. And if you feel like some of this is just life-changing or game-changing for you, click that wow button. If you just love this, click the love button and click that share button so more people like you can benefit from this. Okay. Posture even seems to influence behavior. In a study in Japan, right, worked to correct elementary students' posture, focusing on all four major components of posture, like their feet, their buttocks, their back, their entire body. And after practicing and promoting good posture in class, not only did the posture increase roughly 20% to 90% in students, but students' classroom performance also improved. So a lot of the poor posture out there, whether it's slumping or that forward head positioning, right? It's the result of the devices we use, from computers to tablets to smartphones. They all require a different angle to utilize. So all of which throw our posture off. And it turns out the size of the device matters, but it's not what you may think. Instead of larger devices causing more problems, the opposite seems to be true. That's because the smaller the device, the more we must move our heads or neck forward. A group of doctors, they have conducted their own preliminary research on eye hunch, right, in their studies. They titled it Eye Posture, the Size of Electronic Consumer Devices Affects Our Behavior. So anyway, they used an iPad Touch, an iPad MacBook Pro, and I believe an iMac, right? And these participants were assigned one of these devices, and as they hypothesized that those working on the smaller devices behaved more submissively, while those who used larger devices were more assertive. So you want to go larger. That's the idea. Okay. Besides bad posture making you depressed, forward head posture is also highly associated with asthma and heart disease. One of the most prevalent and destructive imbalances has to do with the cervical curve, the natural curve in the vertebrae of the neck. And when we lose the proper curvature of the cervical and lumbar curves, we lose as much as 50% of our spinal strength. That's right. We lose half of our spinal strength. So for every inch that your head is held forward, rather than balanced properly over the body, it gains 10 pounds of weight. You know, the muscles of your back and neck, they have to work that much harder to keep your chin off your chest. And the muscles of your chin stay in constant contraction, compressing nerves and leading to headaches and at the base of the skull, or those that mimic the sinus headaches that people get. You know, University of California's director of physical medicine and rehabilitation, they found that this forward head posture can add up to 30 pounds of abnormal leverage. This pulls the entire spine out of alignment and may result in the loss of 30% of vital lung capacity. That blow you away? In another study, they found that it actually pulls on the brain stem, right? Diminishing various functions of the brain stem. So as a chiropractor, I like to explain that the curve of your cervical vertebrae is your arc of life. And I borrow this phrase from neurosurgeons because these bones protect the brain stem and are the thoroughfare for spinal nerves that affect every organ, tissue, cell, and function in the body. So these subluxations, or immobile spinal joints, the term for the compression and the irritation of the nerves because of these misalignments of the spine. And when the cervical curve is subluxated, the spinal cord stretches and it can shrink in the circumference, losing the nerve conductivity. So just think of your light bulbs in your room not getting enough juice, or your spark plug for your car, or your lawnmower just can't get enough spark. That's what we're talking about here. So chiropractors make adjustments to the spine and help teach good posture and habits that reverse these subluxations. This restores the body's natural functions and healing capabilities. So that spark for the brain and for the body comes from chiropractic care. Again, like dental cavities, right? Subluxations of the spine are like spinal cavities. They are only corrected by a trained chiropractor, just as a dentist is the specialist that corrects dental cavities. So let me review and talk a bit more about what causes this forward head posture. And before I do that, if you are a patient in my office, once again, punch that love button showing your support and love for what chiropractic has done for you. And if you're getting value out of this training, hit that like button or wow button if this is totally changing your life. And by all means, punch that share button because you never know who you might be able to help with this video. Okay, so forward head posture, what's it caused by? Well, computer use, obviously, watching television, video games, backpacks, trauma, texting on the phones, sedentary lifestyle or prolonged sitting, improper physical training, and trauma leading to the forward head posture. And it can come in the form of car accidents, it can come in the form of slips or falls, or even birthing trauma for the forceps or the vacuums. And of course, you can see many videos I did on natural birth and pediatric chiropractic on our Facebook page, so maybe check those out later on. But specifically, speaking about kids, a 1999 study published in the November issue of Spine, it took a look at almost 1,000 students from 5 different high school years and the effects of carrying backpacks. And the postural changes that occurred in the arc of life were significant with backpack use in every case. Get this, the weight of the backpack did not matter as much as the age and sex of the student. Younger students had the greatest deformity of posture, and the oldest girls also incurred the worst forward head posture. At the 1997 Seattle Fibromyalgia International Team Conference, Dr. Herbert Gordon explained that the head and the neck posture is a major factor in the fatigue and immune dysfunction in sufferers of fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue and immune system dysfunction. He says that the clusters of the small, the layered muscles at the top of the spine can begin to atrophy in as little as 20 minutes when unused. In my video I call Broken Brains, I explain what NASA discovered with gravity studies. You see, we can only remain immobile for around 20 minutes. After that, the catabolic effect of our biology turns on. NASA calls it gravity deprivation syndrome. At any rate, Dr. Gordon reported that a 1985 study found postural problems common in people who suffer from fibromyalgia or myofascial pain syndrome, and even the temporomandibular joint dysfunction. The study found poor sitting and standing posture in 96% of the cases, forward head posture in 85% of the cases, and forward and rounded shoulders in 82% of these cases. And by the way, if you love this training on forward head posture, punch that like button, or that love button, or that wow button. You know, I call this condition text neck. The degenerative bone changes and the abnormal cervical curve in these younger patients is related to the use of handheld devices such as the cell phones, the portable video games, and e-readers. And this is important because there are many issues that forward head posture can play a part in. It can cause things like, well, aches and fatigue, pain, asthma, disc compression, degenerative disc disease, early arthritis, headaches, again, temporomandibular joint dysfunction or pain, altered blood flow, right? And loss of oxygen, especially to the brain, fibromyalgia. So forward head posture may also contribute to carpal tunnel syndrome. None of this is theory, guys. This is real scary stuff. In fact, Nobel Prize winner Dr. Roger Sperry says that 90% of the stimulation and nutrition to the brain is generated by the movement of the spine, and that only 10% of the brain's energy goes into thinking, metabolism, and healing, while 90% of brain energy goes into processing and maintaining the body's relationship with gravity and movement. You see, forward head posture, like I said, decreases lung capacity, and it can lead to asthma, blood vessel problems, even heart disease. See, the oxygen deficit affects the entire gastrointestinal system, and it can decrease endorphin production, and this turns the perception of non-painful sensation into pain experiences. So a wellness or a corrective care chiropractor can measure the curve of your arc of life, give you regular adjustments, and lead you in spinal rehab exercises, teach you postural and working habits that will greatly improve your health and quality of life. So a lot of people seek a chiropractor after they have pain. Well, let me talk a bit about pain just for a moment, right? Pain is merely a perception in the brain, right? There's these little things called neurons, and not to get geeky on you, but it's a perception of the brain. And now we can understand why chemicals from foods, herbs, even drugs can influence them because of these neurons. If you want the geekier explanation, check out my video once again called Broken Brains, where I explain the science about how a bad back is a broken brain, right? So anyway, we also know that if there is a physical factor, a pathway into the brain, that if that is not addressed, it will constantly send feedback into the brain. And until that is addressed, well, you're going to get used to it. So you become tolerant toward it. And then you're just dealing with pain. So the key is getting the spine mobile and aligned again. So neurological-based chiropractic will help you to eliminate the physical cause, right? So chiropractic is amazing for things like ear infections, allergies even, your immune system, right? Digestive health, because of its ability to calm your sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight response, and raising up and activating your parasympathetic nervous system, which reduces the stress in the body. So think about if you wear your car out, right? And it wears in certain areas. So lack of mobility of spinal joints or flexibility in their joints causes arthritis or bony spurs, the laying down of bone in different areas of the body. When you have an area not moving, not only does it impact you neurologically, but there's less fluid getting into that area for nutrition. So when you get an adjustment from a chiropractor, it sends a flood of new nutrients, of liquid to that area to allow it to heal properly and actually regenerate tissue. So we know that improving circulation in that joint space from these adjustments is very important in eliminating chronic pain. Most people don't understand how intimate your spinal motion is to the brain, and the reason why it is directly controlling the autonomic nervous system, your central nervous system. So when we know that pain is a central nervous system problem, it is a nociception input into the brain. And when that signal reaches the cortex and you get the perception, that's when you feel it, and we call it pain. So we can influence things like that. And we know the spine, when it's moving properly, already does that on a daily basis. But we want to make sure that our spinal function is as healthy as possible. And this is why chiropractic is played into so many different aspects of human health and overall function. Again, the other reason I want you to push that like or love button and share this video is because when there is a piece of news on TV, right? Something in the news right now, you heard of it? It's about the opioid drugs, an epidemic, right? The addiction. And so the reason we get so passionate about this is because currently right now, as I speak, every community right now is being influenced by this epidemic. 1 out of every 3 people in the US are on a prescription opioid. That's crazy. 1.9 million are addicted. 115 people die every day from it. Yet here's the kicker. 63.4% of people that start opioid drugs did it because of a physical pain. So if over 60% started it because of pain, what if information like this could reach them and they can say, hey, I can supplement with this. I can change my diet to this, and I can address the physical ailments with chiropractic care that addresses the cause. Instead of risking death at worst and addiction at best to opioid medications, because we know that going down the opioid path is destructive to the family and everyone involved. Did you know that a study came out? They found that every 25 new babies being born in the United States are born addicted to opioid drugs. They're already having withdrawals. Why? Well, because their mom was. So this is why I get so passionate about this. Just imagine, because you liked this video and you shared this video, you have the potential to save lives and get someone off of a very addictive substance. So a few things that we've talked about. We talked about poor posture and sedentary lifestyle, and that it has become an epidemic in America and the new norm. We talked about forward head posture and its impact on your neck with things like asthma, heart disease, brain fog, bad behavior, and chronic stress. We talked about some of the causes of forward head posture, the computer techie work, the texting and electronic devices, prolonged sitting. We talked about how it leads to fibromyalgia and temporomandibular joint dysfunction and headaches and loss of oxygen and carpal tunnel syndrome. And finally, we discussed some other things chiropractic care can help with and why it is the answer to the opioid epidemic that is killing over 100 people daily and causing 1 baby every 25 births to be addicted to opioids. Again, if you're enjoying this training, click that like button. And if you feel like some of this is life-changing or game-changing for you, click the wow button. If you just love it, click the love button and click that share button so more people can benefit from this video. So let me give you some tips on how to improve your posture, right? See, the good news is there are many steps you can take to correct your slumping or forward head posture. And for example, you can try stretches like yoga or Pilates that are focused on postural therapy. There are thousands of free YouTube videos on the matter out there. It's just a matter of plugging into Google and searching it. And it's a great way to improve posture, which can also relieve tension headaches as an added bonus. But I think the absolute hands down only way to address the causative factors and the deeper layers is through chiropractic adjustments and, as I teach in my office, spinal hygiene exercises. Again, if you're a patient in my office, I gave you a specific treatment plan. at your report of findings, which included proper sleeping training specific to you as found by your exam and radiographic findings. Sleeping correctly for you is like physical therapy for 8 hours, and it's free. Likewise, sleeping incorrectly is physical terror on your body and health. And I also covered the YTLM spinal hygiene exercise done after you brush your teeth twice a day. And I explained how important tiny movement is. That tiny movement counts most, and not to discount that statement. Tiny movement count most. You need to move and change your posture every 30 minutes from 1 to 7 minutes. And the patients I have doing this experiment in our office, they're clocking around 10,000 steps on their Fitbit watches just by doing this. Now, just add a 45-minute walk and you can reach the necessary goal of 15,000 steps or 8 miles of walking every day, which again stimulates the neurological movement pathways into the brain, keeping you well and preventing disease through proper motion. Of course, you can always incorporate postural exercises and corrective exercises to correct that pesky forward head posture and improve your mood and mental health while you are receiving your chiropractic care. So chiropractic adjustments to your spine changes that proprioception and that mechanoreception, or your body positioning and your body loading sensors that actually reprograms your spinal curve and your cortex in your brain, right? It accepts this new learning posture, and only chiropractic can do that for you. The exercises help to maintain what the adjustments execute. You need to understand that. For more exercises on this, I've included a list on our website. Go to our website, newlifefamilychiropractic.net. Under the patient resources, click exercises for the complete list. So my final thoughts on slumped and forward head posture are as follows. Forward head posture leads to chronic pain, numbness in the arms and hands, improper breathing, and pinched nerves. But that's not all. It can also affect our mood, leaving us irritable, angry, aggressive, and depressed. Poor posture also has been shown to affect, again, depression, memory, stress response, self-esteem and body image, and even brain function and behavior. You can improve posture through postural stretches and spinal hygiene exercises recommended personalized to you at the report of findings or your second visit in my office. And of course, through your recommended treatment plan of chiropractic adjustments, sleep training, and posture exercises like the Y, T, L, and M stretches, again, on our website. Finally, trying to correct forward head posture without correcting your spinal cavities or your spinal subluxations is like going to a medical doctor to fix your dental cavities. You just wouldn't do that. Please. If you've never considered chiropractic before, I strongly urge you to consider it. When dentistry first took off in the 17th century, there were other doctors with whiskey and a pair of pliers. You had the choice to go to a specialist to get your dental problem fixed, or to cover it up with whiskey and untrained hands pulling at your teeth with pliers. Likewise, in this century, chiropractors are specialized to correct the forward head posture and many musculoskeletal complications arising in infants to adults and to the senior life. So choose the correct tool for the problem, and it's not opioids. Protect your unborn baby, protect your newborn, and choose chiropractic care for you and a pediatric trained chiropractor for your kiddos. Until next time, lighten up, move better, and live fuller. Again, I'm Dr. Matt Hammond, reminding you that it is always a great idea to have your kiddos checked by a family-based chiropractor, and I hope you enjoy this video and others like it so you can become more engaged in your spinal hygiene for your family and friends. And as always, we invite you to become patients in our practice, and if you already are, kudos to you and your family. Help us spread our message by becoming fans on our Facebook page and sharing this video with your loved ones. May God bless.